Hi, good afternoon. My name is Walter. I am proud internationally educated nurse and I'm here in British Columbia, Canada. This is my second video. First video was to introduce to you to our channel composed by some created by IENs, a group of IENs here in BC who are students who are on the process of becoming a nurse here in BC. So before I start for everything, I would like to acknowledge that I am at the moment in the traditional and unceded territory of Coast Salish people, particularly in Katesí, Kwantlen, Semiahmo, and Tuasan First Nation. We always acknowledge the land that they have provided us where we can gather, we can play and live as I am a visitor in this land. So I always acknowledge them to allowing me to live and play on their lands. And yes, to continue, many of us have asked a question about how to become a nurse in British Columbia. So there's some process, but I encourage you to please go to the websites of the regulatory bodies where your registration should be there or should be given or provided. So go to the BCCNM website or called British Columbia College of Nurses and Midwifery. So there's a first step in there. Read online instruction where to go first. So where is that? So yeah, pathway becoming a nurse in British Columbia, and there are some steps, right? And the first steps towards in the upper right, you have to go to read, or first is to read the website instructions about NNAS. So what is NNAS? It is a National Nursing Assessment Service. So what is the role of this NNAS? There's only just to summarize everything. NNAS verifies your credentials. Okay, this compares your credentials to Canadian standards. That's it. And then when you're able to verify it, where your standard is, whether it's comparable or whatever the result it is, or you may or they will determine if you need a supplemental support or supplemental training or courses before becoming a license here in Canada. So that's the role of NNES, just verifying credentials. So how are you going to do that? Of course, go to the website again, read instructions online, and you need to understand the timelines and the fees. Right? You must read applicant handbook, or you can read it online, or you can download it and have a record, read it, try to how the process would work and the fees attaching to every application you're going to do. All right, I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes. So yeah, read online any informations, and that's you do. And then after that, you need to set up an online account. So credit card is needed, whether it's Master or Visa card, because your credit card number can confirm your account. So once NNAS confirms your application and payment, okay, you will get a welcome email and then your NNAS ID number. Keep that ID number, make sure you have it because that NNS ID number lets you track your application and printing online. Okay, whatever you need. So those are the because you're registered already. And please take note, all documents, all documents must be accepted by NNAS, okay, within 12 months of paying the main application order fee. Meaning, once I paid the 650 bucks US dollars already, and when I have the ID, it starts now the timeline of the application process. So what you're going to do next is make sure you know what kind of documents you need to download. You need to follow online instruction, of course, to download and print and submit to NNAS all the documents needed. You download, print, sign, and dated it and send it to whatever they need you to do. Right. For example, I'm going to show here the nursing education registration forms. You're going to send that to them. Right. For example, the registration forms coming from the regulatory body. If, for example, I came from England, so NMC I'm going to download the form, sign it, and date it, and then send the form to NMC, or Nursing Midwifery Council of England. Then NMC is going to send all the documents coming from their end to NNAS. You cannot pull the document and send it by yourself. No, let the NMC submit all documents to NNAS. Right. Same with the any nursing education forms. Nursing education forms meaning where your college or university where you graduated, right? So you send, you download, you print, you sign, you dated it, and send it to the university where you graduated. And university, by all means, they will be the one who is going to send that documents to NNAS. And of course, if English is not your first language, or a document's not in English, is in English, it needs to be translated. Of course, you cannot translate to yourself. There's always an agency that could translate the document, or the university where you graduated, they could translate that for you, or the college or regulatory body that you have already or registered, they're going to do that for you. So what happened to that is they will translate for you and send the documents, everything to NNES. Or um, if translation is done by NNES, you have to another fee for that. It's $85 US dollar per page. So we're going to spend a lot of money if there are some 10 pages of those documents that you need. So it's better to have that university or the regulatory body can translate it for you. Right. So that's my suggestion. Uh, and also, importantly, you have to identify what are those acceptable forms of IDs that they need. For example, the passport, the driver's license, the birth certificates, legal name change of affidavit, marriage certificates, and divorce fees. But these ID forms, some of them needs to be notarized, right? I mean, like birth certificate or legal name change, yeah, everything should be a notarized copy. So you can do that when you are here in BC. You're already here in Canada, you can notarize that to any notary public, or coming from the Philippines itself. For example, I came from Philippines, you can notarize that by to the agencies down in the Philippines as well. So that's important because they cannot that's the document that can be delayed. Though there are some concerns about this submission, these are the challenges of most of our colleagues doing this submission of requirements. This is the cause of, there are so many cause of delays, and there's so much misinformation as well, and why the delays as well. So according to NNES, according to them, that these are the delays coming from the college or regulatory bodies that and including the translation as well of those documents. Those are the common delays they have. But of course, you can inquire them online and how it happened. Of course, you can track your application process, whether they have received it already or not, through your uh, through your NNAS ID online, right? So yeah, I've already mentioned about everything here: nursing education forms and that translation as well. So what's next about that? Of course, language exam. Language is important, right? Because especially if English is not your first language. I came from the Philippines, but when I went to England, I took IELTS exam because Philippines is not an English, our language is not English, so we have to take the IELTS exam. But when I came here in Canada, I did not took any more exam because I was working already in an English country, which I made, and they believed that I could understand and write and speak English in a way that people understand. So I did not took it. But if you are a fresh grad, or not able to work in any other English country, you have to take the IELTS and CELBAN. And please take note, you can only take in approved language testing agencies, and I believe IELTS and CELBAN is the approved one from NNAS, right? So And there are some requirements or minimum scores that you would like to do, like for example CELBAN, what we call the Canadian English Language Benchmark Assessment for nurses. The speaking is 8.0, the listening is 10, reading is 8, and writing is 7. So you have to make sure that's the requirement, you pass among that requirement. And in IELTS, or the International English Language Training System, testing system, I mean, costs you $309 on that. The speaking is 7.0, listening is 7.5, reading is 6.5, writing is 7.0, and overall is actually 7, the score. You should have at least 7, minimum 7. So, so you have to do that. But what if English is your first language? Well, you may not need language testing, but you are required to meet all the following criteria. First is the main language where you live and work is in English. Remember, I came from England, so I did not took an exam because I lived there already and worked there. So they probably, I was excused, right? So yeah. And your nursing education program was taught in English. Yeah. For example, in England, Birmingham University, you come here, you don't need to take the exam. I think the language already, which would prove that uh, you can speak and write and do English properly. So after submitting all the forms, you know, after submitting all the forms from those regulatory bodies, university college, it will be collated by NNAS, right? And then NNAS will look over your file and give you access to an advisory report that contains your evaluation, right? Whatever the recommendation is, okay? So that advisory report will be sent to, because you paid at least $600, I believe, for 650 for NNAS. So that's already, because you in your form that you are applying for BC, that advisory report will be sent to BCCNM. Okay, and then you're going to have an access what kind of advisory report is that, right? So this advisory report only valid for 2 years. Please take note, only 2 years. So once you going to have that advisory report, maybe 3 to 5 days, now you can start your application to BCCNM or register an account on BCCNM because they already have your file. Please take note, okay? The regulatory body decides if you're eligible to register and will let you know if you need to take more assessment courses, and they will make the final decision about your license. Just to make note of that, okay? So once they submitted a advisory report, and for example, BCCNM is going to, they're the one who determine it. Okay. So that's my next video actually. So again, after submitting all requirements, advisory reports will be given to you, or an access to an advisory report. You're going to know how your evaluation, whether it's comparable to Canadian standard or not. Then it's going to set it for to you. And then what if you're applying to other province? Yeah, there's another fee for that. I think $55 per province. So for example, I'm also applying in Alberta. I'm going to send an advisory report to Alberta regulatory body. They're going to I have to pay $55. And another in Ontario, another $55. Or if I'm an RN and I'm trying to apply in an LPN as well to be in evaluation as an LPN, I have to pay 22 US dollars on that one as well, and dependent on designation. But what if I have a question about the result of my evaluation? You can do an appeal. An appeal costs you around 500 US dollars. So yeah, that's it about NNAS. It's too fast, my explanation, hoping you're able to understand it, but at least there's some great information. But I encourage you folks to please go to the website itself and make sure you read all the instructions in there. All right. And in my next video, what happened after this? That will be BCCNM. All right. We're going to focus and talk more about BCCNM in the next video. Again, I really appreciate the time. that you have shared to listen to this video and to watch this. And see you next time. Ciao. I'm hoping we're going to see that.